Hey, scrapbook friends, welcome to week 57 in our Theme Park Thursday series. We are still at Disney's Hollywood Studios, and this week we are doing a layout where my daughters and I do not ride the Tower of Terror. We took some pictures in front of it, and it's actually two separate times of day, but I didn't bother mentioning that. You can see that these were wearing ponchos and then these were not, and the sky is cleared up a little bit, but maybe I need to say something about that over here, but I don't know that I'm going to because I don't really remember. I just know from the timestamp on the photos. So I had a really good time. I used an unexpected paper pack, not one that I would have thought originally was going to work for this, but I think it turned out great and I had a lot of fun doing it. So I hope you will enjoy watching how I put together this fun little building blocks inspired layout of the Tower of Terror. So this is what we have left, just for Hollywood Studios. I have two more bins like this that are going to have to go in that next album. And I have the Tower of Terror, and apparently at 3:33, we took the rain pictures in front of the Tower of Terror. And then at 4:26, we took the not rain pictures at the Tower of Terror. I don't really want to do two separate Tower of Terror pictures. In between them, we had some food. But I want to do that separately. Got this one little single page. This little single page. Yikes, I have a lot more things to do. So let's do some with the Tower of Terror with all these pictures. And I will just kind of put them, chronological. So here's the rainy side. I love this one. Katie's the greatest. That's the same. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's a good one too. They told us to laugh. I have no idea. Why would you laugh at the Tower of Terror? 1, 2. Again, look at Katie. See why I have to put all these in? So 1, 2, 3, 4 on this layout, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this layout. So it's probably going to have to be something like 1, 2, 3. I can definitely make these skinnier. 4, 5, and probably a 1, 2, 3, and a 1. And that doesn't really leave me a lot of room to do much decorating. I can trim some of these off, and of course I'll trim some of those off. This might be our little focal point picture on this side. Once again, we kind of have a photo bomber right here. Tower of Terror. What kind of, is there a tool? Is there a design that kind of goes with the Tower of Terror? I don't know. I mean, I think basically it's just, when I have this many photos and I can't really crop them down a whole lot, there's not a whole lot of room for decoration. I think maybe I could put the title in here. This is 6 and this will be a little bit bigger like that. Put the title in here, Tower of Terror. And then this, and put this kind of in something. Maybe I could do something that looks like the Hollywood Tower, kind of in this pinkish salmon. What paper do we have that would have been that color? With some little roofs. That would be kind of cute. Little rectangles. Make a tower on this side, Hollywood Tower. And I could just write Hollywood Tower Hotel. I wonder if I could find an image online that I could just print that out. That could be fun. So maybe I do kind of a creamy colored background. And I'm really wanting to find something that's kind of this pink, sorry, off the screen, this Hollywood Tower pink with a little texture in it, and a red. And maybe I don't exactly want to mimic the Hollywood Tower. I could do something just with like some squares and triangles, just kind of evocative of the Hollywood Tower. Let me flip through my papers and see what's gonna work with these kind of, not tropical colors, but kind of, I know, kind of that pink. It's kind of a weird pinkish brown that I want to look for. So let me see what I can find. So I keep all these folders in a big plastic bin on the floor under my table, and it's just sitting on a furniture dolly my husband bought at Harbor Freight Tools, and they're all alphabetical. And the first one I came across, of course, was not the first one, but the first one I thought would work was All My Love. And this has some really pretty papers. I think it had a brick paper even. This one. Oh, this, for whatever reason, this like granite is my favorite paper from this pack, even though I don't know why. I don't think that that's going to work. This one, oh, apparently I started a layout on this. That one maybe could work. Let's see if I have another piece of that I haven't already started doing something on. Well, if I'm just going to do the tower, I could maybe use that piece. The stripe. Yeah, I need to go through my paper folders and organize. This stripe kind of makes me think Tower of Terror E. Oh, I love this paper too, though, this rusty brown. That's the hard thing about using paper that that is retired, is like I can't get any more of it. So like I don't particularly like this one, but this wouldn't work. So the ones I like, there's just not that much left of them. Cut them all up. So that's an option. Oh, here's another stripe. But again, I hate to, this is the color I would want to use for the little peaks of the roof. So here's another one. I don't have a whole piece of that diamond paper. And I don't think I'm going to use the brick after all. I don't think that works with these photos. Make sure I don't get my picture lost in here. And then I'm going to pull out the other one that I came across. And I stopped when I got to the D's because I think this one might also work. And because it's a current paper, if I need more of it, I can still get more of it. And that's Denim Revival. And of course, Denim Revival is mostly, you know, denim, but this time they put these like this color. I mean, that's pretty close. And this color, I could do these two, but I don't know that I could use any of these others because they're all super denim-y. You know, I would want a background that wasn't, I don't want it to look like denim. That one. And they're all just pretty denim-y, but I don't have to use, you know, I don't have to use a designer paper for the background. I could use a cardstock. So let me try these two for right now, just to kind of see how I feel about this. And then this kind of has a design. I kind of have seen a vertical design, but I still have to decide, do I want it to be vertical or horizontal? And I think because I'm going to make this little tower over here, that I probably need it to be, the pattern on the paper to be horizontal. And then I could just make my little tower, like make a little mat in this, and then put a few little squares and rectangles with little triangles on top of them. And then use also a piece of this or a piece of this across here. Oh, but I kind of like the idea of doing a little border. And because I just have one piece of this, will have to be the strips. Okay, I think that's what I'm going to do. So where to begin? I think I'm going to begin by cutting down my photos. This one can stay because we're kind of filling up the frame, but this one I could take a little, I mean, this one they already cut off the top of the tower, and that one I could take you know, a quarter inch, and then have spacing on the page, because I think I do want to be able to put that border around. So if I cut this to, this is the one I'm worried the most about, because I don't really want to cut too much of that Hollywood Tower sign, which I would cut it all off if I cut this to 3.5. It's going to cut all of that Hollywood Tower sign, but it's on here. So I don't know. Let's start with 1/4 of an inch. That leaves the Hollywood Tower sign on there. 1/4 of an inch. This one I could easily cut off more than 1/4 of an inch. And this one, I mean, I kind of don't want to cut it because I don't want to cut too much off, but I have the whole tower right there and the whole tower right here. So I think it's okay if I cut off more. And then these, I think I'd like to cut off. I'd like to cut them a lot. I wonder, they're 4-inch wide pictures. So if I cut at 3 inches, I still keep our little hands, get the whole tower, get all of us. Okay, so these are going to be 3 inches, and I'm going to use my trick of kind of figuring out where the middle is. Well, in this one, I don't have a lot of leeway, so I'm just going to cut, I think I'll cut on this side first. Yeah, this gives me, I don't know, what, can I cut it to 3? Just barely. So I think maybe this is going to be 3 1/4. 3 1/4, and I'll do 3 1/4, which means the halfway is 1 1/2 plus 1/8. So whatever that line is, 1/2 plus 1/8. So this line is the halfway, kind of this number 4 right there. So Michelle's going to kind of, I'm going to kind of line her up with the middle of this square. I cut up a little part of the, oh, that was not right. This one I'm going to cut, guess this one's going to be 3. I think I messed that up. 3, and then this one, I'll do this one at 3 1/4. So that would be, that's 1 1/2, so that'd be half of 3, and that's the middle. And maybe we weren't centered in that other picture. And nobody's ever going to know that one of these is a different width, I don't think. I'll put it in the middle. And then I can take a little bit off this. I've got that girl back there. I didn't cut her quite off. Cut this a little bit. Okay, that's going to make this 5 inches. I'd kind of like to cut a little distance, but maybe I won't. This is the one I'd like to mat, so maybe I will. Maybe I'll cut this one down. Oh, I hope I won't be sorry. You know, back in the old days of scrapbooking, we used to crop our photos first and then figure out our layout, but I've learned that that doesn't work so well for me anymore. All right, so now we'll take these papers, I could cut that one. I could cut that one down another 1/4 of an inch. I tried to keep them all the same width though, didn't I? That was the thing. I could cut all of them down another 1/4 of an inch. I would cut off the hotel thing right here, but I think I'm going to like that better, to have these at 3 1/2. And I probably could cut the width a little bit too, because a lot of this is extra. That's extra. This one we use the whole space. Three and a half. Okay. Still not sure about this as a background paper, because I kind of would like to mat these, but I'm going to mat this one, right? So All right, I'm going to see, these are true 4x6s, I believe. Well, they're a little hair shy of 6 inches. But then if I want to do this over here with the little space, it can be 5 1/4. So let me cut this guy at 5 1/4. See if I can tell if any of the places have more interest. I think this one. And then I want to cut at least a 1/2 inch. Oh, more than 1/2 inch, because I want to do all those little squares. So this is 5 1/4. So that's an inch, 1 1/4 inches wider. So I need it 1 1/4 inches taller. So that would be 6 7 1/4 to be an equal mat. And then I'm going to just cut this into some random little squares and rectangles. I'm not going to do that yet. And I think I'm going to use this piece. 4 6 is 10. So if I cut this at about 1, I'm going to cut it 1 3/4. And if I need to cut it a little narrower, I can. And I'm not going to trim the edges yet till I know what we're doing. We'll pull this out. Put these in. Now I cut this one small, so it kind of needs to maybe be the one. Maybe I matte this one with some of this red. Now I cut those a little bit too narrow, didn't I? Darn it. Well, so maybe we're not doing a title right here. Maybe we're not even doing a Hollywood Tower. Do I have another piece of this color? I think I do. So maybe I put these on here kind of as or I just mat them separately, and then if I mat all these individually, that will take up a lot more space. Haha. I did hear somebody say once, it might have been Sherry Tilley, that says if you're going to mat one of them, you got to mat all of them. And I don't know 100% that I agree, but I do feel like I end up doing that a lot. Okay, so these are 6 inch, so I'm doing up to 6 1/2. And then this guy was 3 1/4, so I need 3 3/4. This one was the one I messed up, and I cut it at 3 inches, so it needs to be 3 1/2. And this one was 3 1/4, so 3 3/4. Okay. It's interesting, you know, sometimes I feel like I spend way too much time thinking about what I'm going to do. This is basically the same picture. One is farther away, one is closer up. My eyes look like they're closed in this one. Maybe I won't do this one. Maybe I'll just do this one and this one. But if I do that, then I think I'm going to change the layout, because this is kind of boring, especially when we've got this right here. Maybe I'm going to do something like this, but I'll mat this guy, and I'll mat this guy in the red. So it's kind of that design I've used before, but well, maybe I don't mat this one then. It's interesting because, you know, I want this to be kind of my focal point, but I think just by being there on the side by itself, it will remain a focal point. If I line these up with each other and put that in a mat in the red, but then where do I put my journaling? So it's interesting. I sometimes see people and they put their photos out to the outside corners, and then it leaves this big empty space in the middle. And if that's what you like, that's fine. But for me, I don't like to have that empty space. It feels trapped. You know, I think I've told you before, I was on the high school yearbook staff, and one of the things we learned was about moving all the white space to the outside so that it doesn't feel like it's trapped in there. What if I did like this? No, that's hard because I really like that one. What if we did this down here and then this on top of it? Maybe. Or this, and we could put something in the middle right here. I don't know. What do we like better? Do we like the little 4 square thing? I don't think I do. I think I like this. But I kind of feel like now I need these to either be matted, or maybe I'm not liking the background. Maybe I need I don't know, where's that red that I want to do as a, oh, that's right, I was going to do it as a little frame. That's why I cut these down a little bit. And I could still fit my little frame around. So basically what that would be doing is making this look like this. Oh yeah, already much better. Like this, I've become addicted to putting these borders on pages. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut this down in order to do that. Or I guess I'm not cutting it down, but I've got to have extra space in order to do that. Maybe I did just a tiny little frame like that, like more like 1/8 of an inch, although that's a lot harder to cut. And then I still think I want to do something with this little tower. Like it's cutting some little squares and rectangles. And oh, I should have stayed on here. All right, that's probably enough right there. I'm going to make little pointy roofs. I don't know. That seems kind of silly. But I'm kind of liking this though, with the little, almost like little bricks as much as towers. All right, I think what I need to do is stick all these down, and then I can play with my little squares. But I think that we're doing something with little squares kind of to be bricks and or little pieces of the tower. So I'm going to need 6 1/8 inch strips from this red, and I'm going to cut, it kind of has a stripe design, I'm going to cut against the grain. And 1/8 of an inch is really tricky, especially because my mat is old, and I don't think that's 1/8 of an inch. I think the spacing is not exactly 1/8 of an inch. I mean, it's 1/8 of an inch from like the outside of line to the outside of line, but okay, so I think if I cover up the line here, make sure that I'm covering it up. Let's see what that gives us. Okay, that's a nice width, I think. So cover up the line. We'll just try to get 6 of these that are as close to the same size as we can get. 3, cover up the line. And I like to cut from the bottom up to the edge that I'm bracing against. Now this one's a little bit wider. Ugh. Just barely cover up the line. From the bottom up to the edge where I'm bracing it so it'll stay straight, especially on skinny little strips. All right, that one's better. So I'm cutting 7 because that one was a little too wide. And this might be wider than 1/8 of an inch. I don't know. But I'm basically just using the other dotted line on my cutting mat right here. So the one closest to the logo is where you cut, and the other line is just for when you flip your mat. But I'm on number 4, so I've already flipped my mat. Sorry, I know I'm off the screen and you can't see that number 4. You'll just have to trust me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's 7. So just right here. Okay, so here's the logo side. This right here is the cutting line. And then the other line is just when you flip your mat over. But see here I'm on 4. You can see it's getting close to time for me to flip my mat again. So now I'm going to take, let's see, where's the one that was too wide? Now that I'm looking at them, it was like the 3rd one. I think that one's a little wider. So I'm going to take these, and I really should use a piece of, where's my little silicone mat? All right, I'm going to use my silicone mat. It probably needs to get rinsed off because it's getting a little bit dusty. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 of these. I'm going to put them with the red side down. Oh boy, that really is dusty. There's the other side. It just, it kind of, it tracks the dust, and I don't feel like it was that dusty the last time I used it. These might be a little too wide. I guess I'm going to do 2 at a time. And I learned this tip from Sachio Mitsu. She has a YouTube channel. Sachi's Creative Mind, I think, is the name of her channel. She does super creative things. But by doing 2 at once, I'm just maximizing the use of my my tape runner, because this piece is, you know, closer to the width of 2 than it is of 1. So by, you know, you could just do 1 at a time, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, except then you'll use twice as much adhesive. And I think one of the reasons I don't love the repositionable as much as other people do is because I feel like I use so much more of it. I like the regular adhesive for everything except for the things that only the repositionable works for, like this. All right, so I'm just going to put these around the outside edges of both pieces of paper. And I only needed 6 because I'm not doing the inside edge where they're going to meet in the middle, because I want this to feel like one seamless piece. Okay, I've got those borders down. Now I think I'm going to start with these, the 3 right here. I think I want them in that order. I still got lots of space, so that's good because I just did that barely little 1/8 of an inch border. All right. Here's my regular adhesive. I'm kind of trying to keep the spacing about the same. It's about a 1/2 inch. And I'm using the edge of this paper to kind of just visually make sure my photos are straight, but I may have to wiggle them around a little bit at the end if they don't look straight. Must be a little humid tonight. My photos are curling up just a smidge. They don't usually do that. And I think, oh, I guess I do want to keep this down even. Oh, that's nice because that gives me kind of that same consistent spacing. But I don't really like, I wonder if I want some of these down here. Maybe I do want some of these little skinny guys down here. They're not the same width. Maybe they're this way. Let's make these a little smaller. I guess I could trim these. I have one that's that wide. Cut those down. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I think I'll make like a little bit of a little brick design at the bottom and a little brick design at the top. Maybe I want a bigger one at the bottom too. I have to cut some of these little pieces smaller, but just to give it a little variety. So I don't know if you guys can see, like the wheels in my mind are moving around about how I'd need to adjust these to have, but I kind of want the design from the top, right? This part. I mean, I guess there's some down here too. I don't like that this, when I bring it down to the bottom, it's the same height as that. That, for whatever reason, that annoys me. So I think I am going to just do that. Put this just kind of not quite centered on these. I'll just trim the squares down to fit. And then I'll put the picture on. I'm not really leaving a whole lot of space for journaling. I guess down here I'll have some space for journaling. This one, yeah, I'll just leave that like that. Or I guess I could put the teeny little 1/8 of an inch frame on here too. Kind of like that idea. So I can't remember, did I trim this one down or did I leave it at 4? All right, I left it at 4, so I'll go to 4 1/4. And I'm going to use the paper for cutting my little roofs anyway. 4 1/4. Gosh, picked that up and I thought, oh my goodness, that's too skinny, but it's not. It was just right. So I could measure and cut, but I think I'll be better off if I just eyeball it. All right, there we go. So that's going to come up here. And then these, oh yeah, that makes the spacing just right. I think it's interesting that I didn't figure out till I'd already cropped those photos that they were basically the same photo, just one zoomed in a little bit more. Oh, I love how that worked out with the spacing just lining up exactly the same. Happy little accident, as Bob Ross might say. Although now my spacing between the pictures a little bit wider. I'm not sure that's straight. I might have to fix that. All right, does that look straight? I think it does. Oh, that way. I wasn't tracking which one was wider and which one was skinnier. But I like that this didn't line up here. Sometimes I really like to have, you know, the lines, and other times I don't like to have the lines, and I don't really know what determines that for me. I want the lines to kind of be intentional, but I'm not doing a collage page, so I don't want it to be, I don't want it to look like it's supposed to be a collage page. All right, and then I'll put that right there. And now all my pictures are down. But what am I going to do for a title? I really want to do these little squares. Oops. Yes, I am a messy scrapbooker. People have commented before on my videos that I accumulate a lot of clutter. I do try to clean up between layouts, but during the layout, it's a hot mess on here. All right, so let's use this size because it has all the little measurements. So basically I want kind of from here, so 1.5 inches. And that's a little bit tricky to cut, even on this beautiful trimmer. Oh, that was a tall piece. Let's grab this piece. We'll do a 1.5 inch. Because I just kind of was cutting them randomly before. I do a 1.5 inch right here. And then I do this one. And I think this is already, oh, it's 1 3/4 inches. So if I do another 1.5, but I want it skinnier. Oh, so there's a 3/4 inch right there. So do be careful with this little plastic guide. You can, if you need to, remove it, but it's a little bit tricky, and I've already had one person break hers by pulling it out. So if you do need to remove this to clean it off, just be very careful of these little edges, because that's kind of the weak spot, and then you can just like tuck it back in, hopefully. I did specifically ask Creative Memories if it's okay to take this out to clean it, and they said it's designed to pop out, but just be very careful if you take it out. Okay, kind of got that. And I'm going to put a couple little teeny pieces in between. I've got a very skinny, I may have to trim these down. And then the top, maybe I want like the big piece in the middle. I'm trying to avoid having to cut too many more pieces, but these two are so much the same that I kind of don't love that. It's too skinny. I guess I could trim that way. Too small, I'd have to cut another piece. All right, let me stick these guys. I'm going to use repo for this because I may want to move them around. And I'm just kind of building little bricks, and I'm just following kind of this design. I don't know how I'm going to put the little roofs on them though, now that I look at it, because I'm putting these so close together. But there isn't really room for a roof. This one almost fits. And I don't know if I can cut this tiny little, oh, I don't have to cut a tiny sliver, it fits just right. But the next piece underneath it is going to need a tiny little sliver. That's going to be trickier. So, oh, maybe I just put some red bricks in and don't try to do little towers at the top. I didn't really put a whole lot of thought into this part, as you guys know, because you were watching me. I'm just kind of putting them on here, what feels right to me. This piece I'm going to have to cut. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to flip it over. Put the spacing right here the way I want it, and mark a line right here. And then we're going to see if I can cut straight. Don't want to, oops, I don't want to risk my little fingers. Oh. Okay, it goes that way, I hope. I don't know which way I cut it exactly, and it feels straight, but it might not be exactly straight. Now, I don't know if I want to do another layer of this. Originally, I thought that's what I was going to do, but I think I might do some little triangles for the peaks and then some little bricks. So where's the piece? Here's the piece I cut off. So I guess we're going to do a little bit of measuring here. You know what, we're not. We're going to use the, all right. That's as much as I want to cut off. Oh boy. Can I see that line? So it's on there. It's not the white, but it's right next to the white line. There's a little pencil line. And it's one of those things that if you get the angle of the light just right, you can see that. Okay, so we'll do this one right here. No, that one's easier to see, the pencil line on this. Oops. Something stuck to the underneath of that Post-it note, I think. All right, that can go right here. I'm going to cut it into a little triangle point. And then this piece right here, I'm also going to cut into a little triangle point. And I wonder if that one needs to maybe be trimmed down a little bit so that I can put a triangle point on top of it. I like to keep the thicker side on where I'm cutting. I think I'm going to take just 1/4 of an inch off of this one. And of course, this is why you might have to pick up this thing to clean it, because now I've got repo on the underneath side. Okay, I like that there's like a little difference. And now I'm just going to take, let's see, how tall. I can have the whole height on this one. So I'm just going to fold it in half, just like we do when we're making a little chevron, but I want to make sure that I am cutting from the fold to the outside. Actually, my regular scissors would be better for this, because the blade's a little bit longer. We've got that one. Oh, I didn't quite make the point. I didn't want to fold it too much, and so it had a little flat point. So I'm feeling like these are like little bricks. This one I want to be very short. I need to cut a hair off that too. I just have to fold. I guess I'm gonna have to crease it. And I can only go to right here. That one. And then this one will go all the way to the, I guess we can go all the way to the top. Not the top, because I don't want to, you don't want to touch that border, but we'll go about right there. So about 1/8 of an inch below the top. And I like this because it changes the angle of all these little triangles. I kind of feel like I almost need like a couple little triangles behind. Maybe. All right, repo it is. And actually, I think I want to make sure I get the corners so they don't peel up. And because I did fold it in the middle, I need to give a little extra. All right, maybe I need a couple little more triangles in there, but I'm not sure what I want to do. Now I've got these pieces. Let's see if this piece will fit in here. I may just cut this one with scissors instead of trying to use the trimmer. But I'm not real good at cutting super straight. That's my problem. All right, that looks straight enough. Shh. Don't tell anyone I didn't use my trimmer. But I do like the regular all-purpose scissors for, you know, if I have to cut something bigger. I mean, the multi-tip are great for a little fine, fussy cutting. And then here, whoa, will this one fit? It might indeed. If I cut it while it's folded, well, actually, if I cut it while it's folded, I have a much better chance of messing it up. Let's see if this makes a point or if it's straight. That's pretty straight. Oh, but it's too long. This one I did a pencil line on both ends so that it would fit. All right, I'm liking this. I'm liking how this came together. It's funny, if you watched my Savvy Scrapbookers video yesterday, that one almost kind of felt like a collage page, and here I'm again doing almost a collage page. And a couple weeks ago when we did, it wasn't the Olaf page. Which one was it? One of the recent layouts was kind of a collage page, and here I'm doing it again. But I like this. I like kind of the way that turned out. And now I'm going to come back over here. I'll move this out of the way. And I definitely need to leave some room for journaling, but I think I can do kind of maybe that same concept. I already have a piece that's a roof. These pieces I am going to cut with this. Haha. Ta-da. Oh, that's too tall. I cut that a little shorter. Just kind of cutting some random little squares. This is wider, I think, than I want it to be. I'm having a little trouble because this gap is very small. I'm going to, if you lift up this little thing, if it comes unattached and then you try to close this, your trimmer is going to get caught on that. So if your trimmer doesn't go down, maybe it's because you put your little blade guard. I've nicked it. I've nicked the edge right there. Oh well, it still works. I think I just want, oh, where's those other scissors? That. This is the same width, and I don't really height, and I don't really like that. Maybe I'll put this on the outside. And this. If I do that, I want a taller one right here. Of course, I just trimmed that off. I don't want it to be the same height as that, though. Maybe I'll make this into two little squares down here. I'll put this one here, that one there, and then that's the, I don't think this one is straight. That edge is not the straight edge. I think I'm having more fun with this than I should have been having. And because I put pencil on both sides, I feel like I can cut that one straight without too much trouble. All right, I'm gonna have to do something here with some of these down at the bottom too, but I'm gonna journal first. And, oh, I need to find a place to put my my title. So the thing is that we don't actually ride the Tower of Terror. Katie will ride it. My husband will ride it. My sons will ride it. But Michelle and I, we're not really much for terror, or I don't even like real elevators that don't drop precariously and scare me. So, but we always love to take the picture in front of the Tower of Terror. I don't know if that's cheating, that we take the picture and pretend like we're going to ride it. I think I want to cut this down just a smidge. Yeah, it's better. So maybe I don't put Tower of Terror, maybe I put Sunset Boulevard. But I mean, it's really basically just us on, you know, in front of the Tower of Terror. I'm going to see if I can use all those little scraps that I have from the other. I don't know if I can, because this one I'll have to fold kind of on the diagonal. I think that's going to be too tricky. I'm going to use this big piece right here to cut me some more. Oh, what's this one? Oh, wrong one. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these all to fit the width. Oh, I'll do it like this. There's the width of this one. And I'm going to have to make them shorter, of course. And it doesn't really matter that this one I'm not necessarily perfectly straight, because you can see that edge right there. I don't know, maybe you can't see, but I can see that that edge I didn't cut perfectly straight. But because I'm going to do the triangle, where you're not going to see the straight edge on the sides. That one, and that didn't go down straight, it's crooked. There we go. And then this one. That doesn't feel straight at all. Yeah, that was very crooked, but oh well. All right, so I'm going to take this one, and I think this one can be the full triangle. Yeah, not quite. I should fold it on the outside. So we can go to here. I do like the varying angles of triangle. That makes it a little fun. I think this one I want to have a shorter triangle even. This is a tiny one. This can be a little tricky. There you go. That's a teeny little triangle. The repo is perfect for this. This is going to be a very short little roof line. They're kind of all the same angle, so this kind of doesn't, you know, It's not very accurate. It's an accurate representation of the Tower of Terror, but I don't care. I just want to kind of evoke that feeling. All right, and then the last one. This will be the kind of the steepest cut, I think. Actually, I think I'm going to go a little bit shorter than that cut. These little teeny tiny. I'm not sure what I'd do if I didn't have fingernails, truthfully, for this one. Guess I could use tweezers or something. All right. So there's that one. I like it a lot. Yeah, it was fun. I think maybe what I want to do is, do I leave it blank for the journaling? Maybe I just do some little squares at the bottom, right? Tower of Terror. Maybe I write 2 chicken for Tower of Terror. I'll have to use the little mini ABCs, and then I'll just journal what I told you, and then I'll fill in at the bottom with a few more little squares like this. So let me find my ABCs. It's really handy having them in this thing. Ooh, I could use the brown. The brown would work. Let's see if I can fit 2 chicken for. I don't know about fitting Tower of Terror, but I think I can fit the rest. All right, so let me play with this, and I will, I'll come back and show you it either before I stick it down or after I get it stuck down. But you don't need to watch me pulling off all these letters. All right, so I'm not going to be able to fit 2 chicken for in one line, so I'm just going to put 2 chicken for, and then Tower of Terror, I guess. And I think I'm going to do what I've started to call the dancing letters, but I'm going to use my ruler just to kind of make sure that they're basically in the right spot. And I did catch that I had only pulled 1 O for 2 at the beginning. So I've done my title and my journaling. I just said Katie is not too scared, but Nicole and Michelle are. But it's still fun to play along with the PhotoPass photographer station outside the right entrance. So let's turn these off now that I don't need to see, so that you can see. I think it turned out really cute. I love the little roof lines. I do still maybe think I need to put a couple of little triangles in there, that little empty space, and maybe that one too. Let's see. I don't know how to work that, because I feel like they would need to still have a little gap between the, maybe not. Maybe I can't do triangles. Nah, we'll leave it. We'll leave it. It's fine. It's fine. Not every single space needs to be filled. But I love that I was able to use Denim Revival, which is not necessarily the paper pack I would have thought of, but I love that it's got these browns in it. I kind of wish I hadn't used the 2 chicken for this, because I have a different Disney trip that we went on where Michelle and I and the whole family was there, and Katie and the boys rode Tower of Terror. We went through the line with them just to kind of see what's inside. You know, there's always so much cool stuff at Disney World. We went through the ride, but at the end of the ride, they have what they call the chicken exit. I don't think that that's like the official name, but that's what we always say. We go through the line and we tell the worker, hey, we're not going to ride. Can we take the chicken exit? And then they let us go out. So, but maybe I'll use it again. I don't know. So I could have said too scared for Tower of Terror, or too terrified, or something like that. But oh well, 2 chicken is what it is. I think it turned out cute. I'm excited about it. And as always, I didn't know that I was going to be excited about it. And but it turned out great. I had a fun time doing it. I'm kind of grinning from ear to ear, a little bit too excited about these little, it's like playing with blocks, right? So you could absolutely use something like this for pictures of a kid playing with blocks. You could also use something like this for It's a Small World. I think I've done a layout in the past where I cut little pieces and kind of made a collage for It's a Small World, but I think it turned out fun. I like that we tied it in at the bottom too. That kind of was a change from what I was originally thinking, but I think it worked out great. So thanks for playing along. And yes, if you've stayed to the end of the video, I will admit to you that these are my pajamas. So I had a long day and I decided I was going to get into my pajamas and take a little break. But they're really cute Minnie and Mickey pajamas, and they have pockets. So what's not to love? So, all right. So this is week 57. Good grief. I'm kind of shocked. These numbers keep getting higher and higher, which of course is what numbers do. Week 57, still here in Hollywood Studios, and a very fun non-ride on the Tower of Terror. So I'll be back next week. Thank you so much for joining me, and happy scrapbooking.